screen. So if you've got any questions or if you want to be asked, do give us a call. Let me first welcome our guest teacher, Mr. Muhammad Mahmoud, expert of science at the Ministry of Education. Hello, Mr. Muhammad, and welcome to the program.
Hello, Yasser. How are you?
I'm fine. Yeah.
Everything is okay?
It's a good day. Yeah.
Yes, I hope so.
Yeah, it is. Yes. All right, Mr. Muhammad, we're moving to perhaps this is the last unit.
Yes, today we will start with the first lesson as cell division, as unit 4, lesson 1. Here we will talk about the cell division as we start with the first lesson in this unit. This unit talking about generally about the cells and the hereditary in the human أو الوراثة in human as transfer of the hereditary traits from one generation to another أو الصفة أو الصفات transfer from one generation to another. How come? At the same time we talk about the some main or vital process inside the human body as growing, as repairing or compensation of the damaged cells and or to repair the damaged cells and tissues. Okay.
So what are we going to start with?
Firstly, we will start with the main point in this lesson as the main principles of hereditary, as we will talk about the generation to another as parents and offspring, the new generation, and how can we identify the formation of the cells. As we studied before in primary stage, cell is the smallest building unit and functional unit of all living organisms. cell اللي هي بمعنى أصح اللي بنقولها بالعربي الخلية يعني. طيب, let's go to start our lesson today with the first point as unit 4, as you see here on the monitor here, as we talk about the unit 4, the main principles of hereditary, اللي هي on the monitor please, اللي هي الأساسيات الوراثة زي ما بيسموها. hereditary أو hereditary هنا هوت اللي هي أساسيات علم الوراثة. As we see here, we have unit 4, the main principles of hereditary. So we have here number 1 as a genetics. Genetics, which means what? Here we talk about genetics. Genetics اللي هو علم الوراثة بمعنى أصح. Genetics as a branch of science. Here we will identify or نعرف يعني the science that research in what? The transmission of what? Of the hereditary traits, الصفات الوراثية from one generation to another. From one generation to another by what? By studying the similarities and differences between the parents and offspring. We know what is meant by parent, and here we have offspring. Offspring معناها the new generation. Offspring, which means new generation. So here we have to mention what is meant by genetics, as here we have number 1 science أو علم that research بيبحث the transmission نقل of hereditary traits الصفات الوراثية from one generation to another by studying. We will study what? The similarities and differences between parents and offspring. So firstly, if we will talk about the genetics, لما نتكلم على genetics here, we should know the main point in our lesson today. لازم نعرف حاجة مهمة جدا. Number 1, we have here something is called chromosomes. Chromosomes. عندنا حاجة اسمها chromosomes. So what is meant by chromosomes? Here this chromosome, as we see, carry all the genetics or the genes, all the hereditary traits. هو اللي شايل كل الصفات الوراثية بتاعتنا. So here we have chromosome is two connected threads. Two connected what? Threads. خيطين مربوطين. Threads. Each thread is called what here? Each thread is called chromatid. Chromatid. So each thread is called what? Is called chromatid. Here and here. Each thread is called what? Is called chromatid. Each one of them. This one is called chromatid and this one is called what? chromatid. The two chromatids, one here and one here, is connected, the two threads here are connected by what? By centromere. Centromere. So we have two chromatids are connected together by centromere. So if you want to talk about the what here, we should be carefully when we talk about the structure, and we talk about the chemical structure. نتكلم على chemical structure of the chromosome here. We talk about what and what. Any chromosome consists of two main chemical, and I say chemical, بقول chemical structure. Number one is what and number two is what. Number one is called what here, as we see students, as nucleic acid. This nucleic acid is called what? Is called DNA. And the meaning of DNA is what? Is deoxyribonucleic acid. And we will study in details in the first secondary in biology. DNA as deoxyribose nucleic acid. Plus what? Plus protein. Plus proteins. So here, if we talk about what? If we talk about the chemical structure, again, of chromosome, differ than if we talk about the structure of chromosome. لما اتكلم على chromosome as connected or consists of, as we will know here, as we have what and what? Two chromatids and one centromere. But if we talk about the chemical structure, we talk about what here? We talk about DNA plus protein. So, we should mention, my dear students, we have two types of cells in our bodies. We have two types of cells in our bodies. Here, as we have number one, somatic cells. عندنا في جسمنا نوعين من السيلز. Number one is called somatic cells. All body cells are called somatic cells. Skin cells, muscle cells, blood cells, stomach cells, bone cells. All these cells are called what? Are called somatic cells. What is meant by somatic cells? Somatic cells, which means all body cells except the reproductive cells. As we studied before in second prep, خدنا قبل كده في تانية إعدادي, the reproductive cells, as in male and in female. We have sperm in male and male of animals, especially طبعا including human, and ova in female animal and plants. But in the female, or sorry, in male of plant, it's called pollen grains. خدناها قبل كده in second prep. So if we talk about the somatic cells, contains complete number of chromosomes. يعني لو خدت عينة من any cell in your body, stomach, muscle, skin, blood, bone, any tissue, this tissue is called what? It's called somatic cells because it contains complete number of chromosomes. Okay.
All right, we've got a caller, Abdurrahman من اسكندرية. Hello, Abdurrahman, how are you? Okay, try to call us once again, Abdurrahman.
Okay. يبقى احنا عرفنا عندنا يبقى عندنا two types of cells in our bodies. Number one is called somatic cells. All body cells is, except the reproductive cells. طب ايه اللي يفرق لي, how can we differentiate between somatic cells and reproductive cells according the number of chromosomes? Why? Because the somatic cells contains complete number of chromosomes. Complete number of what? Of chromosome. On the monitor here, if we talk about the somatic and the reproductive cells, as we have here, somatic cells, as we have here, somatic cells, okay, as complete number of chromosomes. Complete number of what? Of chromosomes. What is meant by complete number of chromosomes? As 2n. 2n. Why complete number of chromosomes? Because here we have reproductive cells. Reproductive cells contains half number of what? Of chromosomes. Chromosomes. As n. As what? N. If you have n from male and n from female, here we have what? Together will form what? A complete number of chromosomes as 2n. يبقى لما يجي يكلمني على somatic cells, here we talk about a complete number of chromosomes as all body cells except the reproductive cells. ما عدا مين؟ except the reproductive cells. Reproductive cells here has or have half number of chromosomes. So now we can differentiate between the two types of human body cells. So here we will talk again about the somatic cells and what? And the reproductive cells. Here we have somatic cells and here we have what? We have reproductive cells. How can we differentiate between them? Number one, somatic cells, all body cells except ما عدا مين؟ the reproductive cells. Number one. Number two, has or have a complete number of chromosomes, which means 2n. The symbol of complete number of chromosomes, العدد الكامل من chromosomes, is 2n. Here we have many examples. Example, like what? About what here? About the somatic cells. Like liver, pancreas, blood, bone. All are what? Are somatic cells. If we have here, give reason for why blood or bone or liver are called somatic cells, also because they have complete number of chromosomes. And we have other side as reproductive cells. Here we talk about gametes. So we have another name of what? Of reproductive cells as what here? We talk about gametes. Has what? Has or have half number of chromosomes. يبقى number one, what called gametes. Number two, half number of chromosomes. Okay? So half number of chromosomes as n. Examples of the reproductive cells زي مين؟ As we studied before in second prep, in second term, like sperm, like ova or ovium. ova طبعا الجمع واوفيوم المفرد. تمام؟ زي media وميديum. تمام؟ And at the same time here we have pollen. What? Pollen grains اللي هي بيسموها بالعربي حبوب اللقاح in plants. So if we talk about sperm or ovium or pollen grains, three are called what? Are called reproductive cells, or called what? Or called gametes. Why they called gametes? Because, yes, because the answer here, because they have what? They have the half number of what? Of chromosomes as n. يبقى انا عرفت الانسر بتاعت give reason of somatic cell has complete number of chromosomes 2n, and the reproductive cells have the half number of chromosomes. So here, dear students, we can differentiate completely as we have all the differences between the somatic cells as all body cells except the reproductive cells, and at the same time we have to know what here as we know here the reproductive cells as gametes here طبعا as we have, for example, sperm, ova, and polymerase. Here we have a simple video that explain the reproductive cells. زي ما احنا شايفين قدامنا كده, we have here the ova أو ovium اللي هي البويضة بيسموها, and here we have the sperm or the male gamete. The sperm has, again, the sperm has the half number of chromosome, and the ova has, or ovium has, the other half number of what? Of chromosome. If they combine together, لو اتحدوا مع بعض, they will form what? Both will form together, will form complete number of chromosome as 2n. As what? 2n. 2n in this case is called the zygote. It's called what? The zygote. So here, my dear students, we can differentiate completely between the what? The somatic cell and what? And the reproductive cell. So now we have to differentiate between the cell division. يعني ايه cell division? Cell بتعمل division يعني بتنقسم. It's divide here. Each one of division, كل نوع has its principles and has its own steps, ليه خطوات معينة, and has its importance. At the same time, we should know the location or the occurrence of each one of them. كل واحد فيهم بيحصل فين. We have number one, cell division is called what? Is called mitosis. Number one here is called what? Mitosis or mitotic. And number two, we have meiosis or meiotic. So we should differentiate between mitosis or mitotic and meiosis as meiotic. The occurrence بيحصل فين? The location مكانه فين؟ طبعا number one as mitosis, the place or the occurrence in somatic cells. In what? In somatic cells, as all body cells except the reproductive cells. What is the importance of somatic or the mitosis division or mitotic? The two have the same meaning. الاثنين لهم نفس المعنى, mitosis or mitotic. So here, the importance of mitosis or mitotic is what? Is number one, helps in growth, and number two, compensate or repair, يعني يعوض, compensate the damage cells. As we have any fracture or كسر يعني in bone, this fracture will compensate. If you have any bleeding أو نزيف, these blood vessels or blood cells will compensate, هتتعوض. By what? By mitotic or mitosis division. So here we have to know the concept of mitosis cell division. Because this mitosis division produce, خلي بالنا بقى من كلمة mitosis, produce two cells. Produce what? Two cells identical to the mother cell. Mother cell here, which means the parental cell, اللي هي الخلية اللي كانت موجودة قبل ما تنقسم. يبقى لما يقول لي give reason for, give reason for. Mitosis division helps in growth or in compensation the damaged cells, all because it produces two cells identical to the what? To the mother cell. How come? تعالوا نشوفها مع بعض ازاي. يعني for example here, if we have 2n as mother cell, I know this explanation sometimes not logic for you as a first step, يعني ممكن ما يبقاش كلام منطقي. This cell is called somatic cell. Why? Because it has complete number of what? Complete number of chromosomes. عندها عدد chromosomes كامل. Okay? By what? by mitosis division or mitotic, it will divide into two cells. هتنقسم هتبقى ايه؟ two cells. Each one of them is 2n. How come? We will know but not now. يبقى the mitosis division produce what? Produce two cells identical, نسخة طبق الأصل, identical to the what? Mother or parental cell. اللي هي دي طلعت نسخة طبق الأصل منها. يعني 2n as what? Complete number of chromosomes. We produce two cells, each one of them has the complete number of what? Of chromosomes. So now we know what is the concept or الحكمة يعني أو الأساس بتاع somatic cells, and at the same time the mitosis or mitotic cell division. At the same time we have another type of cell division. This division is called meiosis. It's called what? Meiosis or meiotic cell division. It's called what? Meiosis or meiotic cell division. The occurrence of this meiotic cell division بيحصل فين؟ in reproductive organs. In reproductive what? Organs. And we studied before in second prep, خدناها في تانية إعدادي. Reproductive organs like what? Like testis in male, ovary in female, as we studied before in second prep. So the importance of meiosis division is the production, بيطلع لي ايه؟ of gametes. مش احنا اتفقنا مع بعض ان في حاجه اسمها gametes؟ Gametes are what? Gametes have a half number of chromosomes. So the meiosis division helps in what? The importance helps in the formation of what? Of gametes. Production of gametes as sperm, as ova, as or ovum, as pollen grains. Pollen what? Grains. So here we have the importance of meiosis division. If we have here, give reason for. Give reason for. The importance of meiosis division is the production of gametes. ليه اشمعنى هو ال production of gametes؟ ناخدها مع بعض هنا. اقول له 2n reproductive organ. مش احنا قلنا الميوسس division takes place in the reproductive organs as what? Reproductive organs as testis, as ovary, testis in male and ovary in female. اقول له اه. طيب we have what? Meiosis division. Meiosis division or meiotic will produce 4 cells. يطلع لي how many cells? How many cells? 4 cells. Each one of them has the half number of chromosomes of the mother cell. يبقى the result or the final result of the meiosis division انه بيطلع لي 4 cells عددهم 4. Each one of them has the half number of chromosome of what? Of the mother what? Or the parental cell. So here we have give reason for. Give reason for. The meiosis division helps in the formation of gametes. How can we answer this question? We can answer this question from word meiosis or meiotic. أقول له the answer is because it produces 4 cells have the half number of chromosomes of what? Of the mother cell. And if we have another question about what mitosis helps in growth or compensation the damaged cells, although because it produces 2 cells identical to the mother cell.
Okay, I have here a question. It says put true or false. Meiotic division occurs in somatic cells.
True or false?
Yeah.
Okay.
Meiotic division occurs in somatic cells.
Meiotic
Division
division
occurs in somatic cells.
In somatic cells. As we know, the meiotic division or meiosis division occurs in what? In somatic cells? No, it's wrong. So we should recorrect or re-answer this question. How come? We should replace meiotic with mitotic. Mitotic division helps, our division occurs in somatic cells. Some students may try to correct this statement by what? By replace somatic with reproductive cells. يبقى we can answer by 2 ways. Meiotic division occurs in reproductive cells, or mitotic division occurs in somatic cells. So we have 2 ways to answer this question. Thank you very much. Yes,
Another
about
one?
this question. Yes.
Okay. Meiotic division produces
Meiotic
division produces cells.
Meiotic division
Produces cells with half
produces
cells.
cells
Yeah. With half.
with half number
Yeah.
of,
With half the genetic material.
okay, a number of chromosomes or genetic
Material.
the same. يعني لو قال لي number of chromosomes أو genetic
Material.
materials. Okay. The same. يعني لو قال لي genetic materials كأنه قال لي number of chromosomes. Here we talk about meiotic division produces cells with half number of chromosomes or half number of genetic materials. The answer is right. So here we say right because meiotic division or meiosis division produces cells with half number of chromosomes or half genetic materials. The 2 are the same word. Okay. So here we will talk about the first type of division, as we have mitosis division. نتكلم على mitosis, and we know mitosis produces 2 cells identical to the mother. To the mother what? Identical, نسخة طبق الأصل to the mother cell. But before this division occurs, قبل ما يحصل, this division depends on number 1 as interphase. As interphase. Okay. If you
Okay, we've got a caller, Amira from Giza. Hello, Amira, how are you?
Hello.
So, do you have a question?
كنت عايزة أسأل مستر سؤال بس.
اتفضلي.
All right, go on.
هو النمبرز اوف الدايز بتاعت البلانيتس هو بيلف حوالين الإيرث أو بيلف حوالين itself أو
Its
الصن.
axis or itself, yes.
itself أو الصن دي تتحسب؟
A number of days.
أو الييرز.
Year, yes. We should remember, لازم نبقى فاكرين ال number of the at least the shortest day, the longest day, the shortest year, the longest year, and at the same time we should remember Jupiter and Saturn.
Jupiter and Saturn.
With shortest day, shortest year, longest day, longest year. Okay. يعني احنا عرفنا. Okay. الأربعة دول. Okay. The constant with us. دول ثابتين معانا. Plus at least Jupiter and Saturn, because sometimes Jupiter is the shortest day.
Oh.
Okay, and Saturn at the same time. Sorry, Saturn and Mars.
Mars.
Mars and Saturn, yes.
Mars.
يعني you have four constant here. ثابتين اللي هم shortest و longest, and with the same the same time we should remember Mars and Saturn according to day and year.
I want to be asked.
Okay.
She wants to be asked. Okay. In this lesson.
Okay, as you like. Okay.
No, she wants to be asked.
Asked, yes, I'm سامع كويس.
Okay.
So you remember here as I give reason for in this point. So here we have to give reason for example, the mitosis division helps in growth and repair the damaged cells.
Because it meiosis.
Mitosis division.
Mitosis.
Or mitotic, yes.
Because it produce two cells identical to the mother cell.
Excellent. At the same time, we have another question here. Meiosis division helps in formation of gametes.
Because it produce four cells identical to the mother cell and have half number of chromosomes.
Not identical.
Not identical and has half number of chromosomes.
Of the what? Of the mother?
Of the mother cell.
Of the mother cell. Excellent, Amira. Thank you very much for your introduction with us.
Thank you.
Are you ready for the exam, Amira? She's gone. Okay. Let's carry on.
Okay, so here, very good, Amira. Excellent, Yani, for her questions about the previous lesson and the previous unit about the solar system, and for her answers about the two questions from the first point in our episode at this beginning of this episode, as to give reasons, as we see from the few minutes. So here we have to talk about, as we see, dear students, here we have phases of mitosis division. عندنا الphases of mitosis division اللي هم طبعا start with طبعا كلام كان not logic في الأول. Some students بيقول لي ازاي how come 2n produce two cells identical to the mother cell. How come we have 4 apples? بلاش 4 apples. We have one apple, and this apple is divided into apple and apple. ازاي تفاحة اقسمها تبقى تفاحة وتفاحة؟ How come يعني؟ Okay? طيب هنا how come complete number of chromosomes produce two cells complete number of what? Of chromosomes. How come? Here we have interphase. Interphase. This interphase cells prepare itself by duplication. Duplication of what? Of genetic materials. Genetic materials. So here we have interphase, a cell prepare itself by the application of what? Of genetic materials. As here we have 2n becomes what? 4n عشان نبقى فاهمين. In what stage in interphase? So 4n can divide into 2n and 2n. يبقى any division as mitosis or meiosis will start with what? With interphase. Why? Because interphase prepare the cell for division, بيحضرها للسل او بيحضرها للdivision عشان تنقسم يعني by duplication of genetic materials or duplication of واحد يقول لي DNA ينفع اهو يبقى DNA or genetic materials. Okay? طيب this stage not calculated مش هنحسبها يعني as a number مش هنديها number بنقول first number 1 interphase. No. The number 1 as the first stage here is called what? Is called the prophase. It's called what? Prophase. الستيج الأولانية اسمها prophase. زي ما احنا شايفين قدامنا we have cell, normal cell. Here we have what? Cell. The cell has nuclear membrane. الغطاء بتاع nucleus اسمه ايه؟ Nuclear membrane. As we see here we have what here? nuclear membrane اهو تاني امشي عليه كده اهو ده nuclear membrane الغطاء. Okay? And here we have inside it we have nucleolus. We have what? Nucleolus اللي هي small nucleus. we have chromatin reticulum. chromatin، خلي بالنا من كلمة chromatin. we remember what from chromatin? we remember chromosome. At the same time we have centrosomes أو centrosome here. Okay? So in prophase إيه اللي بيحصل؟ we have nucleolus and the nuclear membrane will disappear. nucleolus and the nuclear membrane disappear، يعني هتختفي. nucleolus disappear، الاثنين هيختفوا. At the same time the chromatin reticulum will condense or intensify، يعني هتتكثف into chromosomes. into what? chromosomes. So number 1 nuclear membrane disappear, number 2 nucleolus disappear, number 3 chromatin reticulum condensed into chromosomes, number 4 centrosome. Here we have centrosome will form or forms spindle fibers, and we should know spindle fibers as what? as threads، يعني خيوط كده بتظهر وهنشوفها دلوقتي. يبقى we should remember at prophase we have number 1 nuclear membrane disappear, nucleolus disappear, chromatin reticulum condense into chromosomes, centrosome forms spindle fibers. spindle what? fibers. The prophase. The next stage is called metaphase, as the middle. As we see, all chromosomes arrange in the cell equator. equator معناها زي ما نقولها in social studies خط الاستواء زي ما بيسموه كده. يبقى in the metaphase chromosomes connected by spindle fibers. Where are the spindle fibers? As we see the spindle fibers as we see here, like that. The spindle fibers, and the spindle fibers are formed from what? From centrosomes. As we studied before, in this stage we say the centrosome forms what? Spindle fibers. Okay? So in the metaphase زي ما احنا شايفين قدامنا in metaphase the chromosomes connected by spindle fibers and they are arranged at the cell equator. Just like that? Yes, just like that. The third one is called anaphase. Anaphase. Here the chromosomes split. الكروموزوم احنا خدنا كروموزوم كده اهو اللي هو عامل كده يعني 2 chromatids and 1 centromere. If the spindle fiber shrink، لو السبندل فايبر اللي ماسك من هنا shrink يعني كش، and the other spindle fiber from the other side shrink, so here the chromosome split هينفصل into 2 halves as chromatids. هيتفكك لايه؟ لكروماتيدز. طيب يبقى spindle fiber shrink with what? with chromatids. give reason for. احنا بنتكلم على ميتوسس ولا مايوسس؟ we talk about mitosis division, and we know mitosis division, its concept to form 2 cells have the half number of chromosomes, have the complete number of chromosomes or identical cells to the mother cell. So if we talk about give reason for, give reason هيقول لي ايه بقى؟ during anaphase of mitosis division خلاص هو كده كانه، طبعا انا ما اقصدش نغش يعني، بس كانه غششني الاجابه يعني، كانه قالها لي. اقول له انا phase in mitosis. mitosis produce two cells. Two cells identical to the mother cell, because he said in the question as mitosis. Anaphase in what? In mitosis. So the fourth stage here is called telophase. Telophase as the adverse stage. يعني adverse يعني عكسي. عكس مين بقى؟ The first step is what? Is prophase. The telophase is the adverse stage because all the disappearance here will appear. كل اللي احنا قلناهم اختفوا here يعني اللي هو هنشوفهم هنا in prophase هيظهروا. يعني احنا قلنا for number 1 nuclear membrane what? Disappear. Nucleolus disappear. Chromatin reticulum condense into chromosomes. Centrosome form the spindle fibers. Yes? Yes. So in this stage, as in telophase, as adverse stage, as give reason for. Sometimes we have give reason for here. The telophase is called adverse stage. مرحلة عكسية. أو معكس له اللي حصل in what? In the prophase. أقول له nuclear membrane appear. مش هناك قلنا disappear؟ يبقى appear. Nucleolus appear or appears. Spindle fibers appears or disappear. أقول له disappear. Okay? And chromosome change into chromatin. رجعت لأصلها. Chromatin reticulum. So here we have give reason for telophase is the adverse stage because nuclear.
No, don't say because we have Ziad on the phone.
Ziad,
and
okay.
We can ask him this question.
Okay.
Hello, Ziad. How are you?
I'm fine.
Diab.
Thank you,
Okay. Diab, do you know the question?
Yes,
I said,
I know.
أنا قلت لكم يا جماعة زياد، قلتوا لي دياب. Okay. زياد ازيك؟
Thank you, Mr. I'm fine.
Okay. Can you answer this question?
Yes, I can.
Okay. How can you answer this question? As I give reason for here.
Ian?
Telophase is called adverse stage.
Because it has the inverse changes that happen in the prophase process.
As what? What and what?
What?
As what? That this adverse change as what?
As the nucleus appears and the nuclear membrane appears.
Yes.
And the spindle fiber
Disappear. And at the same time, chromosomes change into chromatin reticulum again. Very good, Ziad. If you have any question.
Iyad.
Yes.
مستر هي الامتحانات امتى؟
يعني اتقدمت شويه بس لسه الميعاد بالظبط لسه ما اتحددش، بس هي اتقدمت حوالي بالنسبه لكم حوالي من 4 ل 5 ايام، بس مش فتره كبيره قوي يعني ما تقلقش، بس انت
يعني
ذاكر.
في 20 واحد كده وبعديها ولا قبليها؟
لا قبليها بشويه، يعني من 13 ل 16 في الرينج ده كده.
طب ممكن مستر اما تقرب الامتحانات يتحط الجدول بتاعها في البرنامج؟
ان شاء الله بامر الله.
ماشي.
بس انتوا ذاكروا بس اهم حاجه.
انا بذاكر والله.
ربنا معاك ان شاء الله.
Okay. شكرا ليك إياد من اسكندرية. All right.
Okay. So here we have.
I want to ask a question.
Yes.
Because somebody asked me to ask you this question. If there is any change in the system of exam this year.
No, we have at least 6 types of questions. As give reason, complete, choose, right, wrong, correct, underline sometimes instead of right, wrong. And we have at the same time scientific term.
So it's
Or
the same
define.
as the previous years.
Yes, the same as the previous years, but sometimes we have some questions like draw or illustrate by drawing. مثلا for example the structure of chromosome, the structure of cell during metaphase, the chromosomes arranged in the cell equator. We have some questions like that. Besides, we should remember to illustrate by drawing, نشرح بالرسم. As we remember in unit 2, lenses and mirrors, we illustrate any problem. بنشرح أي problem as an image and the position of the object and at the same time at the image by drawing. Okay, dear students, now we know now what is meant by the mitosis division and know the steps of mitosis division. Interphase, the application of DNA to produce طبعا أو the application of DNA or genetic material to prepare the cell for division. ده اتفقنا عليه. Not stage, preparation. Okay, and we have 4 stages beside each other here as what as طبعا as we see here هنشرحها مع بعض هنا اهو ال 4 stages of mitosis division. زي ما انتم شايفين قدامكم. Prophase, centrosome here as you see, and here we have nucleolus, and here we have what again اهم شوفهم تاني. Okay, centrosome, and here we have nucleolus, and here we have nucleus or nuclear membrane. Okay, centrosome will form what? Spindle fibers, and nucleolus and nucleus will disappear. Okay, the chromatin reticulum condensed or intensifies into what? Into chromosomes. نشوفها مع بعض اهو as you see here. Okay, the spindle fibers will what? Will form from the what? From the centrosome. Okay, and the chromosomes will arrange at the what? At the cell equator. In what stage? In metaphase. In metaphase as we see here. بصوا, and connected with spindle fibers in metaphase. Okay, then after this stage here, all in anaphase, the spindle fibers shrink with what? With chromatids, not chromosome, with half chromosome as chromatids toward the two pole of the ايه ناحيه البول, يعني ناحيه كان بقول قطب, يعني poles of the two poles of the cell. And here we have the last as telophase stage. In this stage the spindle fibers disappear, the chromosomes change into chromatin reticulum, nuclear appear, nuclear membrane appears, nucleolus appear, and we have two cells identical to the mother cell. Here we have two cells identical to the mother cell. So here, my dear students, we have to know the 4 steps of the mitosis division by video and by طبعا written explanation to remember the 4 steps, and we have preparing step as interphase before the 4 steps of first our mitosis division.
Okay, take a rest and I'm going to ask you some questions.
Okay,
all
as
right.
you like. Yes.
So the structure which holds 2 chromatids, all right,
2 chromatids
disappears, yeah.
That,
okay, before we do that, we'll just take a little break and we'll be back right after. Stay with us. So we are back, and let us carry on with this lesson, cell division of Unit 4 reproduction. Mr. Muhammad, let's continue.
Yes. So here we have meiosis division, and how can we differentiate between meiosis and mitosis? Firstly, we have mitosis in somatic cells, meiosis in reproductive cells or reproductive organs. Meiosis produce 4 cells. Each one of them has the half number of chromosome of the mother cell. And mitosis produce 2 cells identical to the mother cell. But meiosis division takes place by 2 stages. يعني الميوسس بيحصل مرتين. بيحصل prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase, then prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase again. عشان كده produce 4 cells. Each one of them has the half number of chromosome of the mother cell. As we see here, we have meiosis division from the first meiotic division. Okay? طبعا meiosis أو meiotic the same meaning. It produces 2 cells. Each one of them contain half number of chromosome. As we have here, 2n will divide producing 2n, producing 1n and 1n. يعني half number of of chromosome. Okay? So I think yes, you want to ask me about this part.
Yeah.
About the meiosis or meiotic division?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm ready to your question.
Yeah, I have a choose.
Choose, yes.
It's a choose question. Okay.
Yes.
Choose the right answer. As a result of mitotic cell division. Mitotic, yeah.
Yes.
As a result of mitotic cell division, a cell having 40 chromosomes gives rise to 2 cells.
Yes.
Each of which has a chromosome number of, and we have here some choices, 10, 20, 40, 80.
So if we talk about mitosis division,
yeah,
mitotic or mitosis division.
As a result of mitotic cell division.
Okay, here we have 40 chromosomes will divide to produce identical to the mother cell. So we have 40 and 40. If we talk about meiosis division, we have half number of chromosome. 40 becomes 20 and 20. So what is the difference between meiosis and mitosis? The second meiosis, in meiosis الثاني, is considered as mitosis. واحد يقول لي what? أقول له yes, considered as mitosis. Why? Because second meiosis produce 2 cells identical to the mother cell. يبقى لما يجي يسألني يقول لي we have how many meiosis? We have first meiosis and the second meiosis. The first meiosis we will talk about it. The second meiosis هنا considered as mitosis. خلاص, mitosis we studied before and we know mitosis produce 2 cells identical to the mother cell. But the first meiosis we have main difference. خلي بالنا احنا مفيش حد فينا identical للتاني. At least in fingerprint, at ear print, at eye print.
Even identical twins.
As identical twins, yes. لو هم حتى نسخة طبق الأصل من بعض في difference. Why we have difference or variation between living organisms according to this phenomenon. بتحصل in the first prophase أو prophase number 1 in first meiosis. نبص على المونيتور ونشوفها. تعالوا نشوفها مع بعض. يبقى عندي هنا هو number 1 prophase 1 or in the first meiosis. First meiosis. ايه اللي بيحصل؟ crossing over phenomenon. Crossing over phenomenon بيحصل فيها ايه؟ exchange between inner chromatids, yes, to form a new traits. عمرنا ما نطلع شبه بعض بسبب crossing over a phenomenon. يعني ممكن just 1 minute as a video.
We don't have a minute actually. Yeah, we don't have much time for that. Yeah.
Okay, طيب. Next time, dear students, we stop now at crossing over phenomenon in the first meiosis. We talk about the second meiosis considered as mitosis because it produces 2 cells identical to the mother cell. And at the beginning of the next episode, we will explain the crossing over phenomenon in the first meiosis division. I hope.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you very much, Mr. Muhammad, for your great effort. Thank you very much.
You.
So that. Okay, that brings us to the end of this episode, dear students of the 3rd prep grade. We've had lesson 1, cell division, and inshallah we'll be carrying on with this lesson, and we'll be also moving to the next lesson on our next episode next Thursday inshallah. Remember, خليكم فاكرين ميعادنا دايما كل يوم من 5:30 ل 6:30. إعادة الحلقات بتكون الساعة 6 صباحا، وبكرة إن شاء الله في مادة رياضة عربي بكرة الجمعة. كمان ممكن تقدروا تنضموا لجروب برنامجنا على الفيسبوك اسمه مدرسة على الهواء ابتدائي وإعدادي. I hope you've benefited from this episode, and until we meet you again next week inshallah, we wish you all the best. Goodbye.